and we are joined with a very special guest, former ESPN broadcaster and current Fox Sports and NBC Chicago broadcaster, Adam Amin. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Doing great, boys. How are you doing?
We have a special guest in the house. We've got the man in charge, University of Louisiana Director of Athletics, Dr. Brian Maggard. Dr. Maggard, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
And we are now joined by the managing editor of D1 Baseball, Mr. Kendall Rogers.
Introducing Mr. Nick Domingue to the Rage and Review podcast. A lot of you guys may know him as the person who invented the phrase, and the answer is not Ron Guidry.
Man, I tell you what, but these candied yams with like the marshmallows in it is about the most unappealing looking gelatinous shaws that I've ever seen.
I actually kind of like I really like good cinnamon marshmallow yams.
You like the kid? Are you 60? No, really?
We've got Lane Johnson here. Lane's going to be part of the Region Review crew. He's going to do a lot of background work for us. He's going to help us with our production. Lane, welcome aboard, buddy. How you doing?
Get ready. Buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of things on the pipeline, and can't wait to share it and have a good time with you guys on it.
Yeah, prepare yourselves. It's gonna
get ready.
A lot of fun.
I'm just letting every Cajun Nation know and all our listeners know. Get ready.
The Ragin' Cajuns will be a source of pride for this university, for the alumni, fans, and donors as we achieve success in the classroom, in the competitive arena, and in the community.
It's about to get really fun.
We're looking for dudes that will stand up. Well, Coach, let me tell you today, I'm here and I'm ready to stand up. And I challenge you, Ragin' Cajun Nation, to stand up with us. Stand up with us. Let's lock hand in hand and let's walk through the gates of Omaha.
Hey, I love y'all boys. Let's grind every day starting today. Let's do it. Y'all ready? Oh, Lord! Ready? Who's that team ready? Who's that team ready? That's up.
I got one thing to say right here. Cajuns win!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Ragin' Review podcast. What is happening? It is your boy Nick, going to be joined by Lane in just a few moments, but wanted to properly introduce tonight's segment. We got a lot of stuff going on tonight. First of all, we have got the situation with AYSSports, of course. Blake Ruffino going to come on in just a second. We're going to kind of try to hug it out a little bit, right? I don't know if there is any hugging it, but we do invite your comments. We will share those live as we go through our conversation. But we also, later tonight, 8 o'clock, we'll have a live conversation with LSU head coach Jay Johnson. He will be coming on the show later tonight to talk about the upcoming game tomorrow night against the Ragin' Cajuns. And we, of course, as we do with those types of interviews, we don't just sit and talk about the game and X's and O's and batting averages and all that stuff. We talk more about how they got to where they are and their coaching tree and all that stuff. And then we get into the nuts and bolts of the game as well. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. That happens tonight at 8 o'clock. But we did not want to miss out on the chance to have our, I guess I would say frenemy, almost like the Cold War between Reagan and Gorbachev. We did get Blake Ruffino on here. So we'll chat about all kind of stuff, including the game tomorrow night and Cajunomics. That'll probably be the first thing we talk about is Cajunomics. So let's get to it. We'll be back in just a moment. Let's just take a quick second, and then we'll turn it over to Blake and Lane. All right, we're going to welcome in a friend and foe, I guess, of the Rage and Review podcast. Former foe, maybe current foe. I don't know. We're going to try to work this out. We're going to try to Dr. Phil this shit today. We got Blake Ruffino with AYSSports, who, we 3 years ago, for some reason, we started shitting on each other. And then I think that guy Preston came around, and I was like, well, you know what? Blake's better than Preston. But regardless, we do have quite a history, man. So I do have to say I did duck you 3 years ago. You wanted to have me on your show, and I was like, no, I'm not going on there. But 3 years later, here we are. So, dude, Blake, thank you for coming here and granting us or appearing with us today. Appreciate it, man.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, who said midweek games didn't matter 3 years ago, right? I mean, it all sparked because of us bantering back and forth, 3 years ago in reference to a midweek loss that LSU had to the Raging Cajuns. Listen, I don't hold any animus. I as I've told you this before, I kind of take this in stride. Like, what Twitter is not a real place. It's like Texas fans were on my ass last night because I said I thought it was BS that LSU had to go both to Texas and Oklahoma after you pandered to them in the football season. So they're mad at me now, but I don't care. Your brisket still sucks. But regardless, I mean, it's good to be here. And just let's get it off the top. If we're going to Dr. Phil something, we got to talk about Cajunomics and the outright downfall. And I gotta call it like I see it. The dry snitching that happened with Cajunomics here. The dry snitching was out of control.
First of all, let's get this out the way. It was not me. So first, everybody thinks I am Rage and Review. There are four guys here, right? And I'm not going to rat them out, even though they ratted out Cajunomics. So I'm not going to take ownership for shit I didn't do, Blake. So that's off of me. But let me tell you, that was funny as hell. And I'm going to play on it. Like, if you're going to come after me about Cajunomics, but look, I wouldn't have snitched. I'm just saying. And in fact, what's funny is that one of your fans this week, I guess Cajunomics is back and they were streaming our game. They went on Twitter and was like, YouTube, pull Cajunomics for streaming UL. And like, your fans were like, shut up, dude. Like, that's the opposite of what we want. So.
Well, see, in fairness, okay, to Cajunomics and how this really got started. So LSU would be on like SEC Network. So this actually, Nick, happened on Friday where they put softball ahead of like a baseball game, right? Well, that game goes into extras, and it's an hour and a half extra to like time frame. So you would have missed the first 5 innings. So Cajunomics was like, look, man, I'm just going to stream the game on here so people could watch it because people didn't have like ESPN Plus or whatever. And so they kind of took off. And then, when it got down, it happened again, and LSU fans got pissed because they're mad at you. Let's not get this wrong. They're mad with the situation. They're more mad because they couldn't watch LSU baseball because, and I don't mean this in a wrong way, no one on planet Earth wants to watch Ole Miss and Kentucky in extra innings in softball. Nobody. Okay? They wanted to watch an SEC baseball game. And I think that's how it all got started off, right? It's like, listen, man, you're talking about 2 top 10 teams that are playing each other. By the way, the teams that have 1 and 2 in national titles, just throwing it since 1980, and we're just going to throw this softball game out there. That, in fairness, I understand and understood why they do it. Now, in our business, you and I will just write that shit off. We'll just. By the way, can I curse?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. You'll just write it off, and it is what it is. But I do understand it, and they were back. I will tell you, I can also confirm or deny that I might have been watching Cajunomics because of ESPN and their Rudy Poo-ness.
I mean, I'm not going to hate on it. Like I said, I'm not the guy. But how it all started was actually like not even that game. So I think some other burner went on, and it was when you guys were actually in the tournament that was run by Kendall Rogers, that was a disaster. But like you guys were in that tournament he was streaming, and that some burner reported it, and then it got taken down. So
which is even worse, Nick. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to get on D1 baseball at all. I love, they do a great job of what they do. I'm not trying to say that they don't. KP and the guys do a fantastic job. However, brother, people were spending $25 and they couldn't get a stream. You know what I mean?
That's rough, man.
And
I mean, that chick Daly or whatever her name is, like I wouldn't even hate on her for doing what she did.
No, I mean, listen,
because shit, people paid money to watch it. Like
I couldn't get in. Like I couldn't get into the stream. It said you're in line for 4 hours. I'm like, so I'm watching it on Joy's stream. I'm like, this is got to be the wildest shit that goes on. But it is the problem with college baseball at the current moment in the beginning of the season before conference is you got to find ways to do, to find these games. And the problem is too, we do post games for them, and it's like, dude, we just want to watch a game here. But I mean, again, if you're going to hold that tournament, you got to make sure that you can stream that thing. You got to expect that there's going to be a shitload of LSU fans that are going to be in there.
That's
right?
Like shocking, right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, dude, like, I'll just put this, like, during a football game when LSU lost to Florida this past year, Billy Napier shout out on Rage and Review. I don't even know if that name's even allowed here anymore.
We're kind of over it at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had 20,000 people, like, and StreamYard's like, hey, you got to let us know. I'm like, how am I supposed to know that LSU was going to lose? And I'm like, okay, I guess I could let you know, but look, it's all in good fun in reference to it. I'm glad that they're back, but ESPN's got to figure some stuff out moving forward with this too. I mean, it's been a travesty for baseball.
Yeah, and look, the Cageonomics thing, man. I mean, it drove traffic to I think both of us. I mean, got
no doubt
a ton of traffic on Twitter. I'm like, why do I have 2 million impressions in the month of February? And it was because of that. So even though I did not do it, I would like to point that out again. In fact, the guy who did post that might join us a little bit later. You're familiar with him, Josh? He went into the Tiger Den a few years ago and handled himself well. So let's get back to that before, because I do want to talk baseball. I am genuinely interested in first we're going to go. Look, Jay Johnson, I gave him a big horns down, and I agree with you. I think that's something we could all agree with, UL and LSU fans. But what's the deal with the name, man? Why can't y'all just call us? And I know I appreciate it. You called us Louisiana the other day, but why? What do you think? Is it because we're okay? Lane, am I going to get in trouble for saying we're a little sensitive about the name thing? Is it maybe? So I think that plays into it a little bit. But I appreciate the respect you gave us, man, because that does mean a lot to us, even though it's such a small thing.
If you wouldn't have for me, okay, look, my job, okay, your job is that number's got to go up. I mean, so let's just be real about something. I don't care. When you defend it and then you beat us in a midweek, I'm going to take the petty shot, right? Like, I mean, so if you would have just been like, all right, whatever, we still beat your ass, I would have been like,
that would have been the end of that, right?
It probably would have been the end of it. But because it kept being so like, oh, this is pissing me off, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to keep antagonizing. But I do think and I'm serious about this, not trying to be political. When the whole I identify as with the name change came out, I think it came at a bad time. Like, you should have just, okay, hey, we are Louisiana at Lafayette, okay? Maybe it would have calmed down, but because of some of the political stuff outside of sports, I do think it kind of got people a little like, I'm going to take a shot at it. But here's the real truth of it, the way that I see it. LSU at the current moment does not have a true rival, right? Saban is no longer at Alabama, which LSU has been somewhat searching for a true rival. I mean, you could say maybe Ole Miss. LSU dominated that series. You could say maybe A&M. LSU's dominated that series. The list goes on in reference to, I do think, Nick, even from a baseball perspective, in state, there is a situation where we are looking for a true hatred rival. Now, I admitted this when Josh came on and people just glazed over it and they didn't even want to talk about it. Even I'm looking for, like, hey, who can be that in-state rival that you can go after? I mean, and I don't mean this in the wrong way. LSU football, the only P4 school inside the state, it doesn't happen, right? And you don't really play anybody there. So, like, the LSU, if I'm not mistaken, is 21-0 against in-state schools in the last 4 years, whatever it is. I mean, that's people don't care about it. And so I do think that there is, when you get to have a little bit of in-state rivalry, you see Mississippi have it, you see Texas have it, you see Alabama have it, you see Florida have it, you see Georgia have it, you see all these states that are in your conference have it, namely you and Arkansas. And by the way, they forced us to try to have an Arkansas rivalry.
Yeah, that's terrible, man. Not even competitive. That's stupid.
No, it's not. And I mean, like, that's the part where I think that some of it, when it goes a little bit of banter back and forth, that it's like, hey, you don't have that true rivalry. You're searching for it. Now, I will admit that I do think that I clarified or stated this 2 weeks ago. I do think LSU and Tennessee are becoming the new, in baseball, the new Saban, LSU, kind of like two heavyweights. Keep going after
Tony
it.
Vitello, is that his name? The coach over there?
Yeah, Tony V.
Yeah.
Right. And so I do think that it's there. But again, it's not like, for an example, I'm not going to see somebody in the local Winn-Dixie or the local Walmart and get pissed off because you're wearing a Louisiana shirt, right? Like, it doesn't exist. But if you go in the state of Alabama and someone's wearing Auburn and someone's wearing Alabama, you're going to be pretty pissed off about it. I'll give you an example. So I have a family relative that works for Ohio State. He's the director of player personnel. Okay. I wear an Ohio State gear. You know, all the schools that are up here is where he's been. And that's why we have the helmets there. Okay. I'll wear Ohio State. I'd never wear Bama, but I'd wear Ohio State. And people, like the other day, Ohio State. Okay. There's what, like,
but
so,
dude, Blake, I've been to LSU games. Now I didn't wear LSU gear, but I wore purple in some sort, because I'm not going to be that guy that shows up trying to be a jerk, right?
Well, don't be an idiot either. Like, right. Like, I went to a Tennessee game years ago. I went to an Alabama game in 2007. It was Colorado versus Alabama. I'm not going to go in there and just start wearing Colorado gear in the heart of Alabama. That's stupid. But to the point, yes.
But Lane, Section A, so they're a little bit rowdy out there. Never a weekend passes that some guy in LSU gear, and I'm not talking about just like wearing a shirt, it's like from head to toe in purple and gold, walks into the rowdiest section at UL. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man?
Right. Not only that, I think the last several home series, there's been one guy.
But
every
smart.
game, he wears a Stephen Milam jersey.
Yeah,
every game.
That guy. Yeah. But to be fair, I mean, we buy them anytime they wear LSU gear, we buy them a shirt to change. So
and
I guess
they
he's
put
pretty
it on,
smart.
So,
he's pretty smart because he's getting free UL gear. But no, man, I appreciate you saying the rivalry thing, because we hear little brother, and it's like, man, in baseball and in softball, that is competitive as hell. Basketball, I mean, we're not going to get into that.
I don't think the state
but
cares
football,
about basketball.
I'd love to play you guys in football. I think, depending on what year, it'd be a very uphill battle for us, but I think it wouldn't be, 88-0 like it has been, in the past. So I'd be
even Tulane. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but even Tulane, like the rivalry is called the Battle of the Rag. Okay, I know that people will probably make fun of that, but when's LSU and Tulane played in football?
I mean, it's been a long time, man.
It's been a long time.
It was at the Superdome too. It wasn't even at, Yeah, no, man. I agree.
You don't have that, but, and I don't mean this in the wrong way. Let's run out Southeastern, Grambling, Southern. Let's run them all out there. People like Tulane's been good, right? Like Tulane's been really good. Why not play them?
I mean, they were the Cotton Bowl a couple years ago,
right?
And we were all sitting at home,
right?
So,
dumb a part of scheduling.
Now, one of the things I did talk to Coach Johnson about, and we talked about it. We're going to play that interview in just a little bit, but we talked to Coach Johnson about scheduling in-state opponents in baseball. Man, how great would that be to have a Tulane, a Louisiana, and LSU, and do like a college classic in Louisiana that kind of rotates over a weekend? I mean, that's, to me, it's great for RPI. It's great for the state. It's great for college baseball. I don't know why we don't do that. Your thoughts? I mean, I think that would be a great. Instead of you guys playing Omaha, and I get somebody backed out, so you guys had to play them, but I think that would be a win-win for all the in-state schools. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I forget when this happened, but I saw the stat where I think it was 1987 that Skip, they played in the Superdome, if you remember.
Yep,
it was
like the Winn-Dixie Classic. They did that for years.
Right.
Yeah,
I would love that. I think it would bring a lot of attention to the state. And listen, you could host it. I mean, look, in reference to in-state schools, like Southeastern's one of the top mid-majors in the country. I say mid-majors. I know you probably don't like that word, but it's, whatever. One of the top teams in the Southland, even though they lost to Magnesia this weekend. Y'all, Tech, I mean, for what it's worth, and hell, you could even throw in Southern Miss if you wanted to get enough teams in there. I understand some of those are in conference for some, but teams play out of conference, or like Mississippi State and Ole Miss play before they ever see SEC play. So I would actually like that. I think it would generate a lot of revenue. You're right. Jay did bring that up a couple of weeks ago. Like two teams, like I think a month before the season, backed out. So you had to go get North Alabama. You had to go get Omaha. Now that sucks for him. He actually, I don't know how much he told y'all, but he was trying to get a P4 team in here and they backed out on him. Correct. So, I do think that it would be very interesting for that to happen. It'd be a lot of fun for that to happen. And you could go to other places, right? Like you could go to Lafayette one weekend or one year, or go to Hammond or go to Baton Rouge or wherever you want to go. Hell, hold it in the Superdome for all I care. I mean, it would be really fun.
I miss the old Zephyr Stadium games that we used to have. The Willie Pontiff Classic, man. Those you can't beat
that
those.
Was fun.
That was just a lot of fun. Let's talk about the past weekend against Texas. You guys obviously dropped a couple games there. Texas is a hell of a ball club, and look, losing series in the SEC play. I mean, come on, man, it's gonna happen.
Right.
But the biggest takeaway for me in watching that series was some of the hiccups you guys had on defense. Obviously, going into the game against us, that's something you want to clean up. Is there anything else you're looking for? I mean, it's a midweek game, so at the end of the day, it's not going to make or break your team or your schedule. But is there anything like the defensive play that you're looking to clean up in this midweek game tomorrow night?
I do think that the defense on Sunday was a little subpar in reference to effort. I don't know if the Curiel play in left field, should he have dove or should he have not to, prevent the run in a close game there? Potentially. I think more for me, Nick, it was more of what happened on Saturday and Sunday when it came to what you did on the mound, right? Like, and I know this for LSU fans are probably going to bring up a lot of debate, and we'll talk about this tonight actually a lot. But on Saturday, you threw out of the pen, you threw Ware, Schmidt, Benj, Primo, Mayers, who was at Nichols, Beck, and then Rizzi. That's too many guys that you're trying to get outs with that you can't get outs. Two of those guys, Nick, by the way, didn't even record an out. One of them recorded 2 pitches, okay? And so when you look at them, for me, they didn't have a bad overall weekend out of the pen, right? Like, I don't think it was horrible, but it wasn't good. You couldn't throw strikes, and you didn't have a guy. And by the way, we'll talk about this tonight too. I don't think that you have a guy on Saturday or on Sunday that can get consistent outs. And I think that is more or less what is happening with this team more than anything. Like, for example, Anthony Ianson over the 3 P4 starts that he's had this year, he's averaging just below 5 innings pitched per outing. He's averaging 6 hits, 4.3 runs per 4 innings. That's an ERA over 8.
Yeah.
So then you bring in Chase Shores on Sunday against what I will say this publicly, against the best 2, 3, and 4 hitter in the game. I don't give 2 Rudy Poos, at least in the SEC. I don't give 2 Rudy Poos when anybody tells me. You have Ballou, who's the Big 12 Player of the Year. You have Flores, who might be the best shortstop in the SEC. And then Galvan, whose dad's a part of the Dodgers organization. He's hotter than a crack spoon. Okay, he's got 8 home runs in 9 games. That's ridiculous, right? Like, that is insane. So I do think that what you've done on the mound, for what it's worth, has prevented you from being able to get a series like that. But here's the good thing. You had 3 freshmen that came in that 2 of them did not perform the way that you wanted to. William Schmidt was the top 30 guy going into the draft. He didn't get drafted. Okay, and you got to look at a situation. Does he continue to have bad outings? That's the question that you have to ask there. But you have some good arms like Casey Evans and Cohen that could do some things. What I am really interested in here is to see why midweek games do matter, in my opinion. I'm not a part of the opinion that they don't. I'm interested to see who starts, right? I'm interested to see who throws.
That's
and then
what I was going to ask you, because I was wondering who might get the start. And Johnson didn't tell us either, by the way.
Well, of course he didn't. That guy keeps his stuff, closer than
respectfully. Yeah, definitely.
He's part of the CIA. But I mean, I don't know there, right? Like, I don't know who starts. I don't know the rotation there. Because you're not going to throw Cowan. You're not going to throw in these other guys because potentially you have a game with Thursday against Mississippi State. Does Cowan start? Like, those are the questions that you have to start asking yourself here if you're Jay. And listen, I think that is more on par of what I'm looking for more than anything, is to see how he maneuvers what happens on the mound. But the truth is that you want somebody to go out there and give you a very prolonged outing against you guys, because they need every bit, every arm, every pitch, every at bat. They need to have that in the chamber for this weekend because they got to respond. And we're acting like, if you're an LSU fan, we're acting like, oh my God, they have a losing record in the SEC. They're still 4-2. They're still top 5 in the SEC, which is still ridiculous. So again, I'm just more intrigued about who he throws. I don't care what order his lineup is. None of that. I got to see what he does there, because again, I still think that there's a shakeup that's going to have to happen before in this weekend rotation before you get to April 15th, which, by the way, is not that far away.
Yep. I know you got about 5 more minutes, so I'm going to keep it concise. And you actually alluded to my next question, which was, what do you look for out of the lineup? But you guys are sick. I mean, I can go up and down that lineup. You guys are pinch hitting in the second inning that could start for any team in the Sun Belt, Sun Belt is a top 4 RPI conference, but still, I mean, you guys are absolutely loaded talent-wise. Why are people shitting on your catcher, by the way? I mean, I thought he's pretty solid. I see the look on your face, but I mean, what more can you want from the guy? I think he's great. I mean, he's one of my favorite players on your team, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Hernandez. There's an infinity with guys from Louisiana that start and stay here for a long time, and I love them too. Don't get what I'm about to say wrong. We put them on a different pedestal about what they maybe have actually were. I think Luis Hernandez has been an upgrade. Some of the things that have happened, I mean, he's given up 4 pass balls all year. What are we talking about? Now, I do think, Nick, for what it's worth, that you could run on him a little bit. Now, the question becomes, do you guys even see him? I don't know what's up with people in Luis Hernandez. He caught the guy that threw on Friday night and hit the 2-run bomb to get you really going there. But Luis has been fine. I think that I feel like I'm watching a dude behind the plate and at the plate that it's only a matter of time before this dude blows up. And when you hit the ball that hard and you're hitting it right at him, it's going to start falling eventually, right? And so I'm not of the opinion that he's been bad at all. And by the way, even if you did think he was bad, you have Cade Arambidi, who's the number 1 catcher in the country coming in out of high school. He is not ready. He's not close to being ready. He's not in the stratosphere of being ready. But you may see him tomorrow, right, to give Luis a little bit of a break. That will be interesting. But I do not believe Luis Hernandez has been bad whatsoever. I think he's been pretty damn solid.
Well, I think you guys, again, have a hell of a team. I know people are going to be on the stream thinking that we're going to yell at each other, and I'm going to say you suck, and you're going to say we suck. We're not having the year that we expected to have, Blake, but I think in the end, this is always a competitive, fun series, and look forward to it tomorrow night.
Nichols wasn't good a couple of years ago, and you lost.
I know. So right. Before we do go, my man, pip your stuff out. Tell us where we can find you. I know we do have a lot of UL and LSU fans, and so let us know where we can find you. I think you're going to be live tonight as well, right?
Yep. As soon as this women's basketball game ends, we'll be live. But in the meantime, we'll actually be on Ruffino and Joe show, a National College Football show. You can catch us out there. And then just AYSSports, wherever you get your podcast. Go there. I mean, AYSSports. I think it's pretty hopefully it's pretty easy to remember. Please do us a favor though and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it.
I did. Crazy
okay.
enough,
I appreciate it.
I'm one of your subscribers, so I appreciate you, Blake. Again, thank you so much, and we got to do this more often, man. When we play each other, I'll go on your show next time, and we'll talk about whatever you want. But I appreciate you coming on tonight.
All is fair in love and war now that Caseynomics is back on the tube. That's all that matters, right? That's all that matters.
We're not responsible for anything that happens after this point. So
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. If LSU starts losing at any point tomorrow, I am muting your ass on Twitter. It's not. Look.
Well, look, it's not going to come from my personal account, but Rage and Review, you might want to be careful.
Oh, I will block for 24 hours and then refollow. I am not dealing with that if LSU loses. But listen, it will be a good game. Look. You can make a break. I say this in every spot that, like I did 2 spots today about this. LSU had talking about y'all season. LSU was in the same kind of situation a year ago, and people forget you played a bitter rival, and then you won that game, which propelled you to doing really well. So LSU's got to take this one really seriously, and I hope that they respond at a big light, which is what we'll be talking about tonight.
Sounds good, brother. Well, appreciate it again. Thank you so much,
problem.
and we'll talk soon.
Thanks.
All right, Lane kind of went behind enemy lines there with Blake Ruffino of AYSSports. It was a fun segment. Your final thoughts about the interview itself and what we might see tomorrow night.
I honestly thought there would be more back and forth between the two of you because I know that's what y'all have been about.
Man,
but
I think we're both so tired of it, dude.
Yeah,
like, I think we fried bigger fish since then. So I think we're frenemies at this point, right?
But at the same time, like looking forward to tomorrow, I'm still up in the air if I'm going to go or not, or if I'm going to stay here and watch softball. But I really want to see the guys compete and pull off a big time win when they're struggling. It'll be interesting to see who we pitch. I don't know if that's been released yet.
I don't think so.
But
who knows?
Yeah, just looking forward to a good matchup in Baton Rouge.
I agree. It's always fun to play over there, man. And look, it's also funny that all of Blake's followers were sending him messages like, F this guy up, you show him, stick it up his ass. And then the same thing from our people. But look, it's you got to respect, because we do this as well. And Blake does that for a living, man. I mean, that guy hustles. He's doing this all the time. Just the little bit of stuff and content we put up, you know that, Lane. It takes hours upon hours of work and hard, a lot of no's before you get a yes. So I know some people are very upset, like RC, that Tame is lame. But hey, I think you just, at the end of the day, unless your name is Preston, we got to respect what you do. Daboot making some comments. He doesn't like that they won't play us in basketball or football. I agree with him, man. I was at the NIT game as well, Lane. You were probably like 2 years old, so I don't know if you remember that. But I was in the PMAC. I was sitting front row on the LSU side because one of my best friends was an LSU grad. And so he got in there super early and got me a spot. So I sat down there with him. And I mean, honestly, the LSU folks didn't give me any problems or anything like that. But the atmosphere was, that was so much fun. And like the boot saying, those people walked away saying, man, this is what, this is fun. We need to do it more often. And I agree. I think maybe egos get in the way. I mean, we definitely see that with, things that we work with our own university. But, it's sad that we don't do more, a baseball series on the weekends, or softball series on the weekends, or doing things like having a basketball game there and here every couple of years. We do it in women's basketball.
Which is really cool.
We need to get over that hump. And I think it would be better. And like Blake said, instead of playing a Southern or a Grambling, playing an LSU would be a lot more fun, and them hosting us would be a lot more fun than hosting a Grambling or Southern. Nothing against them. They bring a great crowd and it's great entertainment as far as their bands go. But if you want to see good football within the state, I think you have teams that are now competitive, maybe not to the point of where your LSUs have 18 million in NIL money and can absolutely get the talent, the elite talent in the country. But I think you have a chance to go out there and have a lot of fun with some good people who may be fans of both. So
I want to say the last time we played them in football was 2009?
2009, we lost like 31-3 or something like that.
And then before that, it was like 2 times since World War I.
Yeah, and they like my parents weren't even born the first time we played, so you can hold those.
And I know with
wins
basketball,
over us.
at least with basketball, that may change as well with the new regime.
Yeah.
Trying to get better opponents.
I hope so, man. I hope we do that. I know the boot is very disappointed in me because I said I did wear purple to LSU. Look, man, I didn't wear an LSU gear because I don't own LSU gear, but I do have a shirt that's purple. I'm never going to walk into another team's house and not wear their stuff. I mean, that's if we're not playing them, I'm not going to be that guy that walks into the tee wearing LSU gear because that it makes no sense.
Just like the one guy that wears his Stephen Milam jersey every
home game. Miguez love that. I think he's he was a closet LSU fan, but now full blown. I don't know. Appreciate LC. Yes, like, share, retweet, subscribe, especially on our YouTube page. We're trying to do a lot of fun stuff for you guys and get some exclusive content. And speaking of exclusive content, Lane, before we go, because I've got to go, I got to go eat dinner or whatever. Apparently something with the stream earlier I wasn't picking my nose. I was doing this because my nose was itching and these glasses bother me. So I was not picking my nose, Josh, but something happened where it went off the screen and I was scratching, whatever. The moral of the story is I was getting content ready for later tonight, which is the big interview with LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson. And I'm going to say it again. I mean, you know how much fun that will be to show later on tonight. But Bill Franquez and the whole LSU administration has been absolutely wonderful. I mean, we got to interview Beth Torina. They didn't even ask us twice. They hadn't seen the original email. So we, sent them another email. And they were like, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get Jay on today. So they've been wonderful. And the experiences with all of the other programs we've dealt with in their sports information departments have been absolutely great. So Lane, tonight at 8:00 is going to be a lot of fun. What do you think?
Oh yeah. I hope we get a lot of viewers and hopefully everybody shares and likes it. And I was really glad when I saw that email this morning. I was like, oh my God, like it's actually happening. and it's as simple as sending out an email and them getting right back to us.
Yeah, we don't have to change brands or anything. It's amazing how that works with other places. But RC, for your information, I do not have a Tiger Droppings handle. I do have a Rage and Page in one, however. That is not a secret. I do post our episodes on there when we go up. So you're looking for the other guy on the stream that has a Tiger Droppings. Anyway, not gonna out him on this broadcast, but we'll be back in less than an hour to talk to head coach Jay Johnson. Final thoughts, Lane. I did not prepare to close out this episode because I'm Lane. So you're not lame. You're Lane. Lane, give us some final thoughts about what you think about later tonight, and then we'll close this out.
It was really good to see the insight that Coach Jay Johnson had for not only his program, but the rivalry between the two as a whole and how he views midweek games and everything going forward. But I'm looking forward to it, and I hope everyone else is too.
All right. Now I got it. Now I think I got it. Do I got it? Yeah. All right. Now I do have a song to go up to take us out tonight. Man, I'm tired. It's been a long day, Lane. I can't even talk. We've done a lot all day long today. Plus, we have regular jobs we have to get to. I need a drink. All right. For Lane, I am Nick. Again, we'll see you back in just a little bit when we talk to head coach of the LSU Fighting Tigers, Jay Johnson. Until then, have a good night. Talk to you soon. And go Cajuns.